Hi, welcome. This is actually a demo and a developer preview of this VeilOS, which is an operating system that runs privacy-respecting applications. So if you like to see the article that accompanies this video, you can log on to gig.sg. The very first video, latest story on VeilOS, preview of privacy-preserving application engine, will actually get you started with this video as well. So without further ado, let's see what can we use this software for. In this article, I wrote about how we can actually have a government, right, a government agency creating a group of citizens who has been identified as food insecure. So basically, we put all of these individuals who require assistance in getting food into a group. Right, and citizens within that group can actually generate what you call a voucher in the VeilOS context, right, every day in exchange for packed meals that they can get from different NGOs, non-government organizations that are distributing packed meals every day, right? So in this exchange, there's actually three players. Number one is the government that create these groups of individuals that require assistance, right? So there could be some sort of means testing before individuals are being put into this group. And then you have NGOs, on the other hand, that is providing this, supporting the initiative, right? And distributing packed meals to the citizens. And then finally, the beneficiaries who are within this group of people who are identified as food insecure, who will approach the NGOs, the different NGOs, to collect their supplies for that day. Right, so without further ado, let's log on to VeilOS, right? We'll take on two perspectives today. This is for the organization that's distributing food. For them to allow people to collect, they first have to generate a QR code for the voucher, right? So you'll see three different things over here, like the identity group ID. Basically, this talks about which group that you are distributing, that you allow the voucher to be generated. In this case, we are using this pre-created identity group that is actually a list of 100 individuals, right? Next up is the topic. So the topic is a string that actually deconflicts the collection for every single day. So users may only generate one voucher per topic, right? So in this case, what we'll do is that we'll use one unique topic for every day, so people can actually generate one voucher every day, and that different organizations, NGOs that are distributing food supplies for that day itself can actually deconflict. That means to say, if I collected from one organization, I cannot go on to another organization and collect in the same day itself. Finally, the message is just an additional annotation on the voucher, so we can use it to distinguish different things. So in this case, what we are going to do is that we'll use it to distinguish the different NGOs that are participating in this. So for today, we will just use food distribution, right, 10th of March, and then the message I'm going to use like food from the heart, which is one of the bigger NGOs in Singapore that is distributing food, right? So the moment you click on that, you can see that, okay, this is my dashboard, and you can also see previous vouchers that has been submitted by beneficiaries. So now what we'll do is that we will actually log on as a beneficiary, right? So to do that, I'll launch another browser. So the one on the left is actually representing the NGO, while the one on the right will represent the beneficiaries. So first up, we'll need to initialize the identity card of the individuals, the beneficiary, right? There's actually some demo identities that you can use here, just right here. So I can just delete away and just assume one of this identity, right? So in actual case, in the real world, what we will be doing is that we will have the individuals generate their new identity first, and then sharing this identity card with the organizations that's curating this group. In this case, it's the government organization, right? But we will do that next time. Instead, right now what we'll do is that we'll import one of this identity that has been pre-created for this demo itself, right? So going back, right, what we'll have to do is that we'll simply scan the QR code, right? So we'll wait for the application to load, right? And then you'll see it takes a while sometime, right? And then basically I can manually input this, or actually what I can do is just toggle the camera and then scan the code. So you can see that the identity group, topic, and message actually corresponds to this. So I can then click on confirm, and this will generate a voucher for me to claim 1 share of the pet food for the day, right? So right now, what it's doing is that it's generating a zero knowledge proof that is appended to this voucher to show that this individual is actually part of this identity group over here, and is able to generate a voucher to claim his food supply for the day. So once it is successful, you can see that a new voucher has been submitted. So from the perspective of the organization that is distributing the food, you can now see that, oh, I can see that, okay, there's this new person who submitted a voucher for his daily supplement, and if he's standing in front of me right now, I can tell you that the unique code is the same, so I can give him the pet food now, right? So how is this different from the usual disbursement systems or supply distribution system? Is that from the voucher itself, it is actually impossible for you to identify the individuals who have claimed against this food supply. And you can also use it to deconflict against different organizations. So let's say in this case, this individual has claimed from this organization called Food from the Heart, right? And then again, he tries to actually approach another organization. Let's say this time a different one. I'll just manually change the parameters. So same QR code, right? Sorry. All right, sorry, I'll just manually input this. So let's say that there is another organization. Let's call it Staff, which is one of those that give free food to kids who are not able to afford as well. Basically, you'll see that without revealing any information about the individuals from the government to the NGOs or private entities, we can already deconflict different efforts, right? So that beneficiaries of these users cannot actually claim multiple times from different organizations in the same day, right? And that because of the zero knowledge proof, we are also able to obfuscate or hide away the identity of the individual. So you can see that while this beneficiary is identified by this unique ID, which is 182.182, and then ends with 5177, right? It is actually nowhere within the voucher itself. So if you try to search for 182.182, right, you can see that the identity of the individual is actually not within the voucher itself. Lastly, right, we can try to see if we delete this and generate a new identity. So this is someone who is not within the identity group itself, right? We can see that if we attempt to access the application or tries to generate the a valid voucher, right? So same thing, right? So this is an example of someone who is not identified as food insecure. You can see that the person will fail to generate a valid proof, and that no vouchers will be created. Okay, so and that's actually the three constraints that this application can uphold, right? You can see it's here, right? So only users in the group will be able to generate a valid voucher. So this is an example of that. And that each user may only generate and publish at most one voucher per topic. So you can see that just now when I tried to submit it for different organizations, I couldn't, right? And that the identity of the users is actually hidden. So let's take a look at, let's try to repeat this one more time for another individuals. So we use the first individual just now. We'll try to use the last one now. All right, import. So this time we will generate it for, we will collect it from another organization so that you can see. Okay, so, oh, sorry, not food from the heart. So I'm going to manually input these parameters in. Topic is this. So it's still for today, but instead of food from the heart, we will have staff. And then we will load the application, confirm. So imagine like I scan another QR code and then it's for another company. And basically I can turn on this to show vouchers in all topic instead of just those from food from the heart. So just imagine like this is another beneficiary, right, who walked up to another company called Food Staff, and then he successfully claimed his share of food, right? So now you can see that once we have this, we will be able to look at how many portions of food or supplies have been claimed for the day across different organizations, or really within one organization itself. This also serves a purpose of creating an audit log that is for the organization itself, for the NGOs, because these NGOs will not be able to generate a valid voucher, right, if they do not have a list of all the beneficiaries' identity, the secrets, right? So these are meant to be secrets, so they are not meant to be shared, right? So now you can be certain that if you are a donor to one of these organizations, or maybe you are the government that you are giving tax rebates to certain companies, like let's say Staff, which is actually a private company, right? I can be certain that they did not check, they did not cheat on their tax filing, or that they have diligently been distributing food, and that the money that I've donated to them is well spent, right? So what else can we actually use this application for, right? So in the article, I also discussed, right, that we can use this application for various types of scenarios. First is also elections. Basically, if I create an ad, what I can do is that I can say this is US election 2020, and then like you can really so you have two of the QR code. One is maybe Joe Biden, and then another Donald Trump. And when I scan this and vote, what happens is that I will be able to see that this vouchers were actually voting slips, and that the identity group actually belong to, say, US citizens, right? And that unless you are US citizens, you can't vote, and you can only vote once, and that the identity of the voter is also hidden away, so no one could tell that if you are going to vote for either of these candidates. Another one is credit card privilege. So let's say you are a credit card issuer, say Citibank, and you work with multiple operators or partners such as like airport lounge operators. You can now create like vouchers that permits your card holder into any of the lounge, right, or other services of products, while not sharing any of your credit card holder information with this operator at all. That means to say, if anyone, right, is able to walk into the lounge and generate a valid voucher for this identity group for the topic of, let's say, Airport Lounge Access 2021, P1 maybe standing part 1, right, and crediting to, let's say, a certain operator, then basically I will admit that person into the lounge, right? So this protects my card holder information, right, from the operators, And at the same time, I will also have an audit log of all the all the launch that has actually emitted my card holder. So perhaps at the end of the month, I would like to do a settlement and pay out to them, like for every access, I'll pay them X amount of money, right? And now you know that your launch operator cannot actually cheat on you, right? They can't generate fake vouchers themselves to claim more, money from you. Similarly, you can use it for rationing of goods and services. So such examples are like in Singapore cases, you can distribute like surgical masks, right? Or perhaps even vouchers or subsidies for certain goods and services, or even like rationing of like highly demanded public goods, so on and so forth. What is interesting is also that I can use this, right? Let's say I have an identity group that is massive, like that contains like all citizens of Singapore. Basically, I can use this as a third party, let's say software, say Carousel or Craigslist, generally like P2P selling platform. And then to register an account on my platform, you actually do need to generate a valid voucher with the topic, say Carousel account, and then username as the username that I intend to create on Carousel itself. What this allows you to do is that basically it limits that your user needs to be a citizen of Singapore, and that he or she may not have more than one account on your platform. And this actually helps prevent fraud when you, through civil attack, when people create multiple accounts, right? The moment you ban a single account, that person is banned for life, and he cannot create another account to defraud someone else on the P2P selling platform, right? So these are some of the application of this VeilOS vouchers, right? So the voucher, and what's upcoming is that you can see here that I'm gonna have like a simple voting system. So instead of like having people key in the the message itself to say who you are voting for, right? The QR code can actually bring you to an application that allow you to select from a few selections. Similarly, we intend to add in a collective voting platform that allow you to allocate credits to different proposal to a referendum or candidates to an elections, right? And then I intend to do like this live demo thing. It doesn't work right now. None of this button works, in fact, right? And then also finally, instead of like having like the identity managed within a database, it could be using like a Ethereum smart contract to manage the identity. So in this manner, maybe you can have a proof of humanity smart contract that backs this entire system to prevent a civil attack on the infrastructure itself, right? So if you have any feedback for this application, feel free to just contact me here on this blog over here, right? You'll be able to see like if you head over to the blog, contact is just right on the top. So fill this in and let me know. I'll get back to you. Alright, so in the meanwhile, please stay tuned to further release of more features to VeilOS. Thank you for staying with me.